We've already talked about the rules for adding two integers. What we want to do now is talk about what you should do when you're adding two or more integers. Let's say we're looking at -4 plus 6 plus -15. What strategy do you think would be best when adding these integers together? Remember, since it's all addition, you can add these in any order. Why don't you try and solve it and see how you do it, and then come back and watch how it's done in the notes. Okay, let's see how you did. My advice is that when it's all addition, you should add all the like-signed integers together, because when you add integers with the same sign, you just add and keep the same sign, and then end the problem with the different signs. So if I'm looking at -4 plus 6 plus -15, I would start with the -4 and the -15. Since they're the same sign, we add and keep the same sign. That gives us -19 plus 6 left. Now the only thing I have left is two numbers with different signs. So I have -19 plus 6. Since the signs are different, I subtract, it's 13. And because there's more negatives than positives, my answer is -13. All right, let's try another one. Okay, so we're adding 15 plus -6 plus 10 plus -18. Think about what I just talked about, pause the video, try and solve it, and then come back. Okay, welcome back. If you do what I said in the last section, which was to add the like-signed integers first, what you would find in this one is that you have a +15 and a +10. Two positive numbers together would give you 25, plus what I have here is a -6 and a -18. Adding two numbers with the same sign, again, you add and keep the same sign. So -6 and -18 is -24. So all I've done is adding and kept the same sign at this point. So what I'm left with now is 25 and -24. Now I'm adding numbers with different signs. When you add numbers with different signs, you need to subtract. 25 minus 24 is 1. And then I look at the signs. I have a +25 and a -24. I have more positives than negatives, so my answer is actually +1. And again, you don't have to write the positive. You can just leave it as 1. All right, let's try another one. So we're going to solve -1 plus 4 plus 8 plus -3 plus -5. Take a second to solve it and then come back and listen to how we did it. Okay? Okay, when I'm looking at this problem, what I see first is only two positives. So I look at that 4 and that 8 and I say, well, that's 12. And then I still have plus -1, plus -3, and plus -5. Now, all three of these numbers are negatives. So what I can do is I can just solve two of them first. -1 plus -3. So I have 12 plus, remember adding numbers with the same sign, you add and keep the same sign. So -4 plus -5. I still have numbers with the same sign. So I'm going to add -4 and -5. And I have 12 plus -9. Now I only have numbers with different signs. When the signs are different, I actually subtract. 12 minus 9 is 3. And I have more positives than negatives, so my answer turns out to be +3. All right, so the last thing we're going to do is look at equations where you have to find the missing number. Let's start with x plus -3 equals 6. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out what x is equal to. Now, what I think a lot of people might want to do, we're going to use mental math for this, but what a lot of people might want to do is right away say it's 3, because 3 plus 3 is 6. But if you look at these two numbers, 3 plus -3, those are opposites. That actually equals 0. So then what they'll want to do is say, well, then it's -3. But if you add -3 and -3, the answer is actually negative 6, because when you add two numbers with the same sign, you get a negative. So that must mean that what we have in for x must have to be a number where you'd end up subtracting. So the signs must be different. So what number minus 3 equals 6? We know that that number is 9. So the question is it positive 9 or negative 9? If I put positive 9 in, I have 9 plus negative 3. I'm adding numbers with different signs, so I subtract. When I subtract 9 and 3, I get 6. And because 9 is the bigger number, or I have more positives than negatives, I have positive 6 equals 6. So in this problem, I have x equals 6 as my answer. You're going to have to just guess and check, think about what you have, and work through the numbers to figure out what the missing number is. All right, let's try another one. In this problem, I have x plus negative 4 equals negative 11. I'm trying to figure out what x is equal to. So again, I start with my mental math and I think, well, what number plus 4 is 11? I know that 7 plus 4 is 11. So if I write 7 plus negative 4 equals negative 11, if I look at these two numbers, signs are different, so I would subtract. Oh, that's 3, so I know that that's not the right answer. Let's try the 7 as a negative. When I look at these two numbers, the signs are the same, so I add. I get 11. And since the signs are the same, you add and keep the same sign. Oh, I get negative 11 equals negative 11. So I find that this is x equals negative 11. Okay, so thanks for listening. Now we are going to try and do some of these problems on our own. Good luck.